All right. Episode 13.
Start the clock.
I'm so glad you're here and in a good mood. And I know why you're happy. The Vatican is hiring.
Oh.
Pope Francis was the first pope from South America, so his body will rest in repose for 8 days in the Vatican, and then ICE will come by in a van and ship him to El Salvador. Here's the interesting part of the Pope's dying. The last person he saw officially was our Vice President, J.D.
Wow, God.
It's true, it is J.D. Vance. So he was 88 years old, the Pope, had just finished a 38-day stay in the hospital, got over a lung infection and pneumonia, met JT for a half an hour, keeled right out. Trump's going to a funeral. That doesn't happen a lot. And they say, listen to this, they say he might not be able to get one of the good seats. And worse than that, they're sitting him next to Tracy Morgan.
I don't get it.
So Wednesday.
Oh, yeah, because he threw up.
It's always a big thing, you know. But so far, Trump's position, he is standing by Pete and blaming Al Gore for inventing the internet. It's for you, Al. One last very important story. Elon Musk is hanging up his chainsaw.
Oh, yeah. Stepping down.
You know, he has been helming the Department of Government Efficiency. But that's over now. He said it's time to step back. Not that the work is done. He just wants to spend more time meeting his family.
Oh.
We got a great show. Al Gore is over there.
He won the 2000 election. I don't care.
You really were instrumental in the internet. I mean,
you never claimed to have invented it. But,
not invented it.
He didn't invent it, but I remember him and Bill Clinton talking about, I remember it clear as day, man, over and over. Information superhighway. And that's what the internet really is. Because before that, it was just some military stuff. One computer talking to another, blah, blah, blah. What they did was the real internet, as we know it today.
I mean, I'd love to hear your thoughts on the Department of Government Efficiency, because I certainly remember when you didn't use that title, but you could have. You did something very similar. Could you just compare and contrast for the class?
Yeah, thanks for asking. We saved $126 billion, $136 billion, 640,000 pages of rules and regulations eliminated. Not a single lawsuit ever filed. And
that's how you do it.
I went to every single department and agency and started with the janitorial staff and worked all the way up to get the culture and to understand what was going on. Now, by contrast, to the contrast part, the Doge, you know, we used a scalpel, not a chainsaw or a butcher knife, and we cut the fat, not muscle and bone. That's what they're doing, and I'm not sure they're going to end up saving any money whatsoever.
Yeah, they look that way.
Firing and rehiring, and it looks like what they've claimed as savings are being whittled down to almost nothing.
Yep.
And you never sent out a letter to people that said you're a piece of shit and why don't you find something useful? There's none of that. You've been away for a while. Still got the cowboy boot.
All I did was what Winston Churchill said about the American people. They generally do the right thing after first exhausting every available alternative.
Right.
I like that line.
What he actually said was, I think about Trump a lot, and he could be an asshole just like Nixon, or he could be America's Hitler.
Oh, that's accurate,
and I remember thinking, oh, so the good option is that he's just an asshole like Nixon?
There was a group of German philosophers that went back after the war and conducted a kind of moral autopsy. And they said, one of them said that the first step on the descent into hell, in that case, was, and I quote, the conversion of all questions of truth into questions of power. They attack the distinction between true and false. And when I see and hear the climate crisis is a hoax invented by the Chinese, that windmills cause cancer, that coal is clean, and they try to assert with the force of power their own special version of alternative facts.
Yeah, but I guarantee that the side of the country that voted for Trump, they hear Nazi and they just go, oh, you're calling us Nazis.
Yeah.
First of all, it's a bit of a false premise, as bad as they are. And also, it just says to them, well, you just hate us. And one thing I've learned in recent years is that the one thing that's more powerful than money is hate. When people hate
Amen
you
to
so
that.
much, and when they think you hate them so much, even the money goes out the window. Not that I think Trump is going to survive if he takes the economy down, but this...
Bill Maher has to be careful the way he talks because he said Trump won't survive toppling the economy or bringing down the economy. That could mean career-wise or plow.
This idea that, well, you know, just to take a random example, you can't even break bread with them. We hate you so much that
Well,
you're not even,
look, I
you're
know
deplorable and you're not worth having dinner with.
I know that you've been attacked on this, and I
What?
want to... Yeah.
Yes.
I haven't read that.
By Larry David, of all people.
Somebody comes with an offer and says, you know, this person who's been dominating our life, whether you like him or not, for 10 years, like nobody ever has in history, would you like to see it up close? Would you like to see the Trumpadopoulos up close? You know, I mean, I, of course, who wouldn't?
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you. I did the same thing.
I know, but and then I went back to my day job of tearing him a new asshole every week. Michelle Obama was like, hated by the right because she wanted us to get healthy. Now it's the other side because RFK says, let's get America healthy, and now we love it.
Because I don't think that their opposition to solving the climate crisis is driven by their desire to be the opposite of what Democrats are. I think it's driven by the amount of money they get from the fossil fuel industry and the fact that the fossil fuel companies are way better at capturing politicians than capturing...
Yeah, as far as the politicians, but
they have
not the voters.
Control of policy. And you have been unstinting in saying we have got to face up to the climate crisis. I just want to say it is way worse than most people have come to realize. It is extremely dangerous. The polluters have blocked any progress. And some of the other issues you mentioned also suffer from the dominance of money and campaign contributions by special interests that block the progress that the people need.
That's why I remember Andrew Yang had an idea called democracy dollars. You give every voter $100, and they decide that $100 could only go to a certain candidate, and like that you would outbid the lobbyists.
Because big money is now distorting American democracy, and we have seen that our liberty really is at risk.
Yep.
He's not Hitler. I've never said he is, but something is different about this administration compared to any other that we have ever had.
You sound like you're ready to get back on the campaign.
Here we go. You can do it.
You aged really well. I don't know how old you are now.
I benefit from low expectations. You know, I think there may be a rising demand for another president in his late 70s.
Late 70s. Wow.
Great to see you.
He looks better than poor Bill Clinton.
All right. Al Gore, everybody. All right. Here's our panel. He is the newly elected Democratic Senator from California, Adam Schiff.
I don't like when they have politicians, active politicians, because they don't really speak the truth. They sound like they're on the campaign trail. But let's see.
Let's talk about what it is for the other side, for the MAGA people, because I think they're disappointed, even though they may not say it out loud. I think they thought when they were voting for Trump.
My summary of the first 100 days is that the bad news is it's the worst first 100 days in U.S. presidential history. I can't think of a presidency that had it worse. But the good news, I think, for the country is it's the worst first 100 days in U.S. presidential history.
Well, I think the political scientists have a term for the first 100 days we've seen, and they call it a shit show. It's been characterized by economic self-destruction. I don't think that's what anybody voted for. In the form of these on-again, off-again tariffs, the on-again, off-again threats to unseat Jerome Powell and more. But I also think Democrats can't rely on Trump to self-destruct.
Yes, the follow-up question, of course, is how will the Democrats blow it?
Oh, yeah, they'll find a way.
I think the opportunity for Democrats is to say we are the party of sanity and normality. We want the country that we had respected around the world, a magnet for talent, a country that respects the rule of law.
Oh, if they really want to do that, they have to call out their side, just like they call out the other side.
We don't want MAGA, we want MANA, make America normal again.
Normal.
Yes, the purists are always going to have the people who come out to the rallies. I don't think those people necessarily win elections. That's not been the history recently. And it's
not really
to say, you know, the party should, you know, be practical in this. But how does that pan out when actually meets the road? Are we going to actually get up there and challenge those kind of people? Are we going to say cops aren't the enemy? The streets are for people. They're not for homeless people to live on. Those kind of issues.
I think the one and only Democrat who has a chance in hell of winning, especially a presidency, is Ruben Gallego, Marine, Mexican-American guy from Arizona, well-respected, well-liked. I think he can do it.
Are you prepared to do all that?
Well, the answer is yes. I mean, and I think the Democratic Party has to be able to do all that. And I've never.
I don't know about yes, but
essentially
they got to try.
And there's no way to solve homelessness unless you make it possible for people to build housing. You just can't, because you can spend billions to move people off the street into housing.
These people still don't get it, man. And this is coming from somebody from Oakland, and I know the homeless problem really well, up close and personal. These people have severe mental issues. You could go ahead all day long, give them a home, whether it's rent-free or not, and they will not be able to take care of it. They don't want to follow rules. They got drug problems. You got to find a way to clean them up, get them some help, mental evaluation, then maybe get them some free housing or something, or a job, or whatever the case.
I was in South San Francisco 2 years ago after I had an experience.
That is not a bad area.
Many people had. When my luggage was stolen out of my car, they tell you don't ever leave your luggage in the car.
In South San Francisco?
Until the one time I did. And of course, it got stolen. And what was most memorable about the experience for me is I went to this Target in South San Francisco, 10 o'clock at night, and I'm getting the toiletries I'm going to need for my next 2 days in the city. I get to the cashier.
You went there by yourself, not an assistant.
I think I went there. Well, yes, I had somebody drop me off at the store, and
oh, he's lying.
I see. I waited somewhere I should not have waited, didn't you?
What did I say about politicians who don't really speak the truth? It's like they're always on a campaign trail, man. That story is probably fake, and he sent his assistant.
I had to get the clerk, which is hard to find, to unlock the shampoo or the whatever.
The
so
clerk.
That's one thing, and I think
that's an awesome story. That says a lot.
Well, and I think
even Bill believes it's fake.
The Democrats listen to that story. I think he is the Pope, and I guess he inched the church forward on a few social issues, but you know, they still don't have women priests, and priests still can't marry, and they definitely can't marry a guy. I saw that Marjorie Taylor Greene went after the Pope.
I hate her.
Called the Pope disgraceful. I mean, why do the conservatives hate the Pope? So we did some digging. Would you like to know why? Okay. Foreigners voted in his election. Yeah, that's... He refused to go on Rogan. He refused to change the kingdom of heaven to the kingdom of America. That his followers, even when he changes on a dime, will just go right with him. It's like, you ever watch geese fly? One turns and they all turn.
Hell yeah.
The pollster, he said, on July 4th, picnics will happen. I think he has another 3 months before voters turn on him.
Oh, wow.
What do you think about that?
so. The harm is done, even if we go back to the pre-tariff status quo. The harm is done. Can I also say that when my time comes, I sure hope it's not with J.D. Vance.
But the people who aren't speaking to him are the senior members of the Republican Party. They're all, with the exception of
Nobody's going to do that.
and a handful of other
No, Don Bacon.
and Don Bacon, a few other people. Everyone else refuses to tell the king that he's not wearing clothes. The Republican Party has shifted from a political party into a cult of personality, and these are the kinds of mistakes politically, policy-wise, you make when you become a cult.
Amen to that.
I guess Trump tweeted out today, well, tweeted, I guess, truthed.
Yeah.
I can't believe I have to use that verb. He truthed.
He truthed.
That's his media platform now. Vladimir, stop. I know that sounds like that's the joke part. I mean, that he really did. And if that doesn't work, he's going to unfriend him on Facebook. Because Russia is not the country that I've ever seen ever give up. They don't really care about human sacrifice. They lost 20
I think they gave up in
million people World War
Afghanistan.
II. But he says now, Trump, this is his final offer.
Yeah,
For
right.
some reason,
What Russia is doing in Ukraine, which Trump now wants to license, is what China wants to do to Taiwan and other aggressors in other parts of the world. So there is going to be
A ripple effect.
forgive the term, a domino effect, because dictators will take notice that they can conquer other countries and that the United States will not only not support our allies, we will get behind them.
do not want trans books that teach kids that some people are trans in the schools. And here's Justice Amy Coney Barrett. She's quoting from one of the books. When we're born, people make a guess about our gender.
Oh,
and label
God.
us a boy or a girl based on our body parts. Sometimes they're right, sometimes they're wrong. No, I think that's bullshit. Okay?
Yeah.
No, they're almost always right. If you have a dick, you're almost always a boy. On the right, they don't even believe that trans is a thing. It is a thing. But it's not a thing that happens like this, where, well, we don't know, jump ball, every baby is just a...
Why don't they do what they used to do with sex ed, where you give a student a letter to give to the parent, or just give it directly to the parent for permission for that student to have to be part of the sex education class? And if you're that kind of parent who wants your child to know about all this trans stuff and whatnot, go ahead. After school, there's a class. Your child can go there or not.
All right, we'll leave it there. Thank you, guys. Time for new rules.
New rule.
I'm not saying Pete makes a terrible defense secretary, but he's the worst thing to hit the Pentagon since Flight 77.
Oh, man. Too soon.
Crooked Man, the teen who's gone viral for bulking up just one side of his body, now tried jerking off with the other hand.
Man.
Kids today, huh? Even their bodies are bipolar. New rule, and this one I've said before, but America's young men must learn some game. It's gotten so bad that a candidate for governor here in California, Republican Kyle Langford, is saying that female undocumented immigrants can stay if they, quote, marry one of our California incels.
Oh, my God.
Talk about doing the jobs Americans don't want to do.
Oh, for real.
Yeah, that's right. Snow White has partnered with Allegra because Allegra helps you not be sleepy or sneezy. Get it? So, kids, remember, if you're bashful, try Ritalin. And don't forget Plan B, because you never know when your prince will come. She says the guy in the seat next to her masturbated for an hour.
My God.
Has to tell us one thing. Was it this guy? And finally, new rule, Republicans have to stop excusing all the dictatory stuff that comes out of Trump's mouth by saying, he's just kidding. He says stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Now, Senate Majority Leader John Thune says when Trump talks about running for a third term, he's having some fun with it, probably messing with you. When I challenged Ben Shapiro here on Trump being too dismissive and reposting that Liz Cheney deserves to be tried for treason, Ben answered sarcastically, wait, he said shit? That's crazy. Donald Trump said shit? This is such an interesting position for a political party to take about their leader. Trust us, there's nothing to worry about. Our guy is just full of shit. Trump is the only president when you're relieved, when he doesn't keep his campaign promise. And always the idea, oh, that Andrew Dice Trump, always. Even Nick Fuentes, white nationalist, said, it's getting a little excessive even for me.
Oh, man.
And so I got to ask, what about the rest of you, my Republican friends? And yes, I do have Republican friends, and I know that makes me a very bad person. And I know that's not much to hang your hat on, but I must remind Democrats, you no longer even own a hat rack. My choice of maintaining communication with the deplorables may only have a 1% chance of succeeding, but I guarantee your method of running out of the room screaming, I'm not talking to you, has zero.
Zero.
I was honest about it, and that gives me standing to say to conservatives, now, okay, you appreciated my honesty and balls, now I want to see your balls. Wait.
No.
Show me you can be honest about that. Show me you're not just a MAGA cultist. Okay, thank you. That's
Yeah.
Club Random drops every Sunday on YouTube or listen wherever you get your podcast. Now go watch Overtime on YouTube. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
All right. I will catch y'all on the next one.